To go back a bit to the history of post-war prefab, so they started to have the idea of prefabricated homes in 1942 because they anticipated a big housing shortage just after the war, and they didn't want to fail, like they did for the Home Fit for Heroes program, where they couldn't manage to get all the houses built as they had planned to. So they thought that prefabs would be a quick way to house a lot of people. So yes, in 1942, and then the Churchill of government created a committee called the Burt Committee, after someone called Mr. Burt, with architects, and they were sent to America, because America was very advanced in timber framing and prefabricated homes. So they were sent to America to do a tour of different projects and come back with the idea of an ideal design of a prefab and also materials and everything. And they designed an ideal prefab with 2 bedrooms, 1 kitchen which would be linked to the bathroom with a common wall, and everything would be, it was called the service unit, so all joined together, and then a big living room. They thought about having quite a big kitchen, so you could put a table and eat in the kitchen, and then a back door, so you've got the front door or the side door, depending on the type of prefab, and then also a back door to go to the garden. And what was very clever is to think about the prefab, like the detached. So people really loved it because they had a detached home, so close to their neighbor but not too close. About the design of the prefab itself, but they thought about the layout of estates as well, because in a few places, well, most of the places where they built prefabs, it was estates, and they thought about, after they were supposed to be demolished, like 10 or 15 years, they were thinking of doing like proper council housing. So they thought of the layout before they did the prefab. And it's very good because when you think about it, they were it was an emergency, and they did things well, really, even though it was in a rush, or, well, that's my point of view, but anyway. And sometimes you had also prefabs which were erected a bit like where there was a hole by a bomb, so they put 2 prefabs or 4 prefabs, and so there are examples of that as well. So not only estate, but also kind of isolated prefabs. So I'm talking about Eddie because it's his birthday today, actually. I just went to see him earlier today, and he said it's 94 today. That's him on the left picture. So he's been in his prefab since 1946. I think he was the 3rd resident of the estate. Yeah. And he still has very, very clear memories of the time. And it tells very nice stories, like, for example, it always tells a story of a very rough winter in 1946, 1947. And it was the first winter in a prefab, actually. And he had a lot of, it snowed one night, and he woke up and he saw that there were about like 1 meter, the height of the fence, snow. And he thought, oh, it must be the same on the roof. And you see those ones that got flat roofs, and he thought it's going to fall now. And it didn't, so he said always thank you to the Germans, because the Germans, the German prisoners of war built the estate, so he's always thankful. He always says thank you to the Germans, he doesn't mention the Italians, but...
I've got a question. As you know, at Grove Park, we also had prisoners of war building the prefabs, which are all gone now. But I've never discovered any documentation in the archives of them. Have you ever found that?
No,
there must be something.
Céline tried to find some archive for me, because I'm going to have another book coming out with Shire Books, which is a publisher of historical books about the history of post-war prefab. And I was after a picture of prisoners of war building the prefabs, and we never find anything.
Nothing.
Yeah. In Getty or all the old archive, Imperial War Museum, nothing. So there's no documentation of that. Yes,